Hello students. Here's a version of question that you may see on your e-textbook under demand loans, and you may also see it as an assignment question if the computer assigns it to you on my lab. So the question is this: Exotic Furnishings Limited has a line of credit secured by the equity in the business. The limit on the line of credit is $43,000. which means that the most you can borrow is $43,000. Anything over, you will be charged extra. Exotic owed $25,445.31 on its line of credit on May 1st. The line of credit agreement requires a regular payment of $300 on the principal plus interest. So what this means is that you actually pay $300 on the principal every month. So the full amount of $300 is paid off of the loan. You also have to pay the interest every month, including overdraft interest. So what you're paying is actually $300 plus any interest that has accrued by electronic transfer after the closing on the last day of each month. So in other words, if the last day of the month is, for example, May 31st, you must count May 31st since it's the business day is over. So you must count that. Overdraft interest is 19% PA. The line of credit is variable. So it changes. It started at 4.3% on May 1st, right there. It changed to 5.2% on July 16th, right there. And also 4.15% right there on October 10th. So I've completed the table for you from the transaction table. The transactions tell me that on June 17th, there was an extra $5,000 borrowed. On August 14th, an extra $5,000 borrowed. And September 6th, an extra $12,500 borrowed. And again, the principal payment of $300 on the end of each month, counting that last day of each month. Even though it says May 31st, you can actually say it's up to the way we've been doing it in classes. It includes May 31st, so we can actually write June 1st if you want. That way I'll count the first day, not the last day, but you'll see. So I've set up the table. As you see, I've got a days between the dates, the date, the rate of interest, the principal withdrawal, the principal payment, the interest payment. I've got a little column for overdraft because I know it's going to go into overdraft, the balance, and how much has gone over in overdraft. Okay, so I started by calculating the days between the dates by subtracting. So I got 30 days here by saying May 31st subtract from May 1st, right? Like that. C16 minus C15. I'm going to use Excel because it makes it a little easier to show you. Now, when I subtract, I know that I lose the last day. Counts the first day, lose the last day. However, the way I've got my date set up, I actually have to count the last day. So that's why I added that one back, right? If you put June 1st, then you don't have to add that day back. So just because the way it's worded. Again, June 17th, $5,000. I have to, because of the way it's worded, it's counting the first day, June 1st, up to June 17th, not counting that day, would be 16 days. Because the way the dates are set up, it says 17 days when I subtract it, so I adjusted it by 1 day. And I did that for all of them, all right? Just because of that. Now, let's start. I know that my balance was $25,000 right there. The first thing I need to do is calculate my interest payment, and that's going to be equal to PRT, 25,000, times the rate of interest right there, 4.3%, times 31 days out of 365. And I know that that is $92.93. So I know that that interest is paid, okay? And I have to adjust my balance now. It's the 25,000 minus the 300. So my new balance is 25,145 31. So I know that this has been paid, so I'll just bold that to show you. The reason I stopped on this date is because there's a $5,000 another principal withdrawal of $5,000. So I know that the new balance is the 25,145 plus the 5,000. Okay. However, I do need to calculate interest up to June 17th. All right. I need to calculate the interest there because the balance has changed. So if the balance changes, you must calculate the interest. So I equals the principal, which is the previous principal, times the rate, which is still 4.3, times 16 days out of 365. And I have $47.40. And that's not paid. I'm just keeping track of it, and that's why I have it in red. Because the reason is because right after this, this date, the balance changed, right, to $30,000. So the next date is the end of the month. So the end of the month, June 30th, counting that day, I need to calculate the interest that is built up to that day, equals P times R, which is that, times T, which is 14 days out of 365. So I know that's $49.72 because of the extra $5,000 on the principal. So I'm paying at the end of this month the $300 at the end of the day plus the total of these two, right? And I know that on June 30th, at the end of the day after closing, you pay the $300, you pay the $97.12, and because you've paid the $300, you must reduce your balance by $300 because you pay the principal. Next, I go to July 16th. July 16th, 15 days later, the interest rate changes to 5.2%. That's the only reason we stop. The next line is July 16th, 15 days later. The interest rate changed to 5.2% on that date. However, for those 15 days up to July 16th, the interest is still 4.3%, so we must calculate that. Equals the last balance times 4.3% times 15 days divided by 365. $52.74 is built up to July 16th. The next date is July 31st, 16 days later, at 5.2%. And that's a statement date. So we calculate the interest at the last balance times 5.2% times 16 days out of 365. So 6803 at 5.2%, 52.74 at 4.3%. Let's add that up. It's $120.77. So on July 31st, you pay the $300 plus you pay the $120.77 in interest. However, since you've paid off $300 off the balance, you must adjust your balance by $300. Next, the next date is August 14th. August 14th, we borrowed an extra $5,000. That was 13 days later from the last date. If we borrow an extra $5,000, we adjust the balance by $5,000. We're now at $34,545.31. However, we still need to calculate the interest up to that date, right? Not including, but up to, but not including that date. So equal to the previous balance times the rate of interest times 13 days out of 365. So $54.74 up to, but not including August 14th. We're now at the end of the month, August 31st. Statement date, 18 days later. We know we have to pay $300 plus interest on the new balance equals. The new balance is there because we borrowed an extra $5,000 times, the interest rate is still the 5.2% times 18 days out of 365. So let's calculate the interest that is accrued. All right, the addition of those two, $143.31. So on August 31st, at the end of the business day after closing, you pay the $300 and you pay any interest that is built up. All right, so at this point in time, the balance decreases by $300. We have that. The next date. The next date is September 6th. You borrowed an extra $12,500, right? So I know that my last balance, I add an additional $12,500 owing, $46,745.31. I am now in overdraft. By how much? Well, it's the difference between that and $43,000. So you're over by $3,745.31. However, on this date, right, equals the previous balance before you borrow the 12.5 times 5.2% times the 5 days, right? August 31st to September 6th. You have 5 days at the previous balance, and then the balance changed to changed upwards by $12,500. So divide that by 365, and I have $24.39. Now, here's where it becomes a little bit different. We have on September 30th, which is a statement date, 25 days later, after September 6th, I know that you now have a balance of $46,745.31. You've gone into overdraft by $3,745. So the interest calculation is a little bit different here. The interest calculation is 5.2% at a maximum of $43,000 right there. Okay. Then anything over, which is $3,745.31 over, you are charged 19% on the overdraft. So we have to do them separately. So let's do it here. Equals $43,000 maximum times 5.2% times 25 days out of 365. We also have to calculate the interest on the overdraft, which is that amount times 19% times the same number of days. So I have that. So my actual total interest that is built up is equal to the sum of these three values, 226.28. So on September 30th, we make a payment of $300, and we also pay the interest amount of $226.28. We have to reduce the balance by $300. So the balance now is $300 less, and also the overdraft is $300 less. So now that's our new balance. We go to October 14th. October 14th, the interest rate changes to 4.15%. That's 9 days later after September 30th. So we're going to calculate the interest up to there, still at 5.2%, because it changed on this date. So let's calculate it here, equals the new balance, which is, $43,000, right? We're at maximum, times 5.2% times 9 days divided by 365, $55.13. We have to calculate the overdraft, which is $3,445.31 at 19% for the 9 days out of 365, $16.14. So again, the 5513 comes from the balance of 43,000 maximum at 5.2%, and also the overdraft of $3,445.31 at 19%. After October 10th, so the next date is October 31st, which is a statement date. So we calculate the interest at the maximum of 43,000 times 4.15% times the 22 days out of 365. That's $107.56 at $43,000 maximum. We have overdraft, so it's equal to the overdraft amount times 19% times 22 days out of 365. $39.46. All right. I know that my balance has reduced by $300. All right, that's the last day. So I know I'm in overdraft a little bit still, but that's my last balance. The amount of interest is going to be the total of all of those amounts, which is $218.29, and that's what we have. So let's go back to our question. Here's our question, the amount charged on May 31st. So let's have a look. May 31st, right there, $92.93. The amount of interest charged on June 30th, so let's go back and look. It's the total of these two, which is $97.12. The amount of interest charged on July 31st. July 31st is right there. So it's the sum of those two. It's the statement date, right? You pay the $120.77. The amount of interest charged on August 31st. August 31st is right there. Again, it's the statement date, pay the $300, pay the $143.31. Amount of interest charged on September 30th. September 30th is right there. So it's those two amounts because they were broken up. $226.28. And the amount of interest charged on October 31st, right there, right? It's the statement date, $300 plus the interest, which is those four, $218.29. And the balance on October 31st, the balance is $46,145.31. It's going to be negative because I think that's what they want. And that's how you do that. It's very complicated, I know, it takes some time, but it's a good exercise.